No? I do not have any kids, so I'm not sure if this is true, but I do hear that it gets easier. So they have completed the middle school level. So it should get a little bit better moving forward. But we are trying to do whatever we can to make the transition as easy as possible for them. I can say that, speaking with principals at other schools, especially Innovation Academy, that our students do very well there. So I know that your children are going to do great, and then do great things when they finish high school. So I am going to pass this off to Dr. Mason and Ms. Walker so that they can tell you all the things you need to know as an 8th grade parent. And I will see you guys for the celebration time in May. All right, you ready, Dr. Mason? All right, hold on.
Good morning, 8th grade parents. Oh, no. Let's try this again. Good morning, 8th grade parents. Good morning. There we go. I need a little energy now. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well this morning. My name is Dr. Mason. I am the school counselor here at FAST. Just to give a quick, brief introduction, this is actually my 3rd year here at FAST. This is actually my 19th year in education as a professional school counselor. I've also worked in Clayton County for 6 years, as well as I have worked in 7 states up and down the East Coast. I am happy to have y'all here this morning for our 8th grade transition meeting. First, I want to also take a moment to acknowledge our assistant principal of curriculum, Ms. Walker, who's here. Say hey, Ms. Walker. Is there any other staff members here I want to acknowledge? Ms. Q is here. Hey, Ms. Q, our 9th and 8th grade English teacher. Hey, Ms. Q, say hi to the crowd. Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, so the purpose of today's meeting is for us to kind of just go over some things as far as high school graduation requirements, and just for you to know about the little things going on in high school, because even though they're about to graduate middle school now it's high school requirements, graduation requirements, and then next steps. It's always about the next steps. Even in post-secondary education, we're always thinking about, okay, you're going to high school, but what's after high school? Are you going to college? Are you going to the military? Are you going to the workforce? Because those plans start essentially in 9th grade. It may seem like it's early, and it may seem like, wait, my child's only 13, 14, but a lot of these things play out as they start high school. So the goal of today's meeting was, one, to make sure you understand what your child needs to get out of high school within 4 years or less if they choose, as well as understanding some of the potential programs that your high school may have available to them, and to give you an opportunity to answer any questions that you may have. So we do have a PowerPoint here that I will get started. Let's make sure my clicker's ready. All right, and my clicker's clicking. Awesome. All right, so first and foremost, I want to just take a moment to go over what the actual graduation requirements are for your child graduating from high school. Actually, no, let's stop. Before I do that, I want all y'all to give yourselves a hand first. Can we, all parents, give yourself a hand? Ms. Miller mentioned it earlier, but I also got to take a moment to celebrate you, because this is a monumentous event of your child's actually graduating within 2 months. I know they've been fun while they've been in middle school, all the drama, all the he said, she said, and growing hormones. So it's a big celebration. So before I get started, I just want to acknowledge and thank y'all for being dedicated parents to your kids up until this point and beyond. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to go over what are the actual graduation requirements for your child to graduate high school within the next 4 years. So first things first, they need a total of 23 credits. Those 23 credits comprise of 4 English credits, normally 9th grade lit, 10th grade lit, 11th grade lit, and 12th grade lit. They need 4 credits in math. This is typically algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and then some form of advanced math. Advanced math can typically be calculus, it can be calculus, it can be AP calculus, it can be statistics. This advanced math typically varies from high school to high school. They need 3 credits in social studies. 3 credits in social studies normally is AP World History. Some schools may do, not AP Words, I apologize, a World History credit. Some schools may do AP Human Geography for that first class. Also, you need US History. Then Then you need a half a credit of civics and half a credit of economics. Then you also need 4 credits in science. Science typically could be biology, chemistry, earth science, physics. Once again, every school varies in the science classes that they offer. So some schools may offer forensic science as their science, environmental science. It changes from school to school. As I mentioned earlier, our kids go all across Fulton County. Almost, I believe, 12 different high schools our kids are going to. So each school offers different science classes. So it'll be important for you to speak with your school counselor when your child goes there just to find out what science classes they offer. Also, they need to have 3 credits in what's combined as CTAE, which stands for Career, Technical, Agricultural, and Educational courses. We'll explain that a little more in a second. Or foreign language credits, or fine arts credits. Like I said, we'll explain that a little more in depth in a second. They also need 1 credit, which is normally a half a credit in health and a half a credit in PE. And then the last would be 4 elective credits. All right, so I want to take a moment now to talk a little bit about what CTAE is. So as I said earlier, CTAE stands for Career, Technology, Agricultural, and Education classes. So essentially, these are any type of classes that a student will take in school that are more career-oriented, or like I said, pretty much career-oriented. Now, once again, each high school has different versions of what these CTAE classes are. So for instance, construction, engineering, computer science, cosmetology, culinary arts, video broadcasting, us being a school, coding, all of these things fall under CTAE classes. So once again, like I said, every school offers different CTAE classes. So it'll be important for you to find out what CTAE classes that your particular school offers. All right. Next, I wanted to give some examples of fine arts. Fine arts is essentially any type of art class, but like I said, I'm gonna be redundant with saying this because like I said, our kids are going to so many different high schools. Fine arts is any type of art class that your child will take at that school, and this varies from school to school. So band, chorus, theater, drama, dancing, aerobic, not aerobics, but any type of art class, 3D art, sculpting, ceramics. Like I said, I worked in many different high schools, so I've learned that there are many different types of fine arts class, but any type of fine arts class that your school offers that your child takes would count towards those fine arts credits. All right, foreign language. Foreign language, pretty self-explanatory. It would be any language that your child takes in high school that is not English. Like I said, you technically, to meet that requirement for the 3 credits, we can have a combination of all 3. Normally when I'm working with my students in 9th grade, I kind of start by saying, what do you think your plans are after you graduate high school? The reason why I say that is because if they're planning on going to a 4-year institution, they are required to have 2 years of the same foreign language. Now, like I said, some students automatically know, hey, I'm going to the military when I go, I have no intention of going to college. That's fine, like I said, I support either way. But once they realize that they're going to the 4-year college institution, they need 2 years of the same foreign language. So they can't take 1 year French and 1 year Spanish. If they did that, it will meet that requirement, but it won't meet college application requirements. Once again, like I said, different high schools offer different types of courses, so it will be based on what your school offers. The most popular one that most high schools offer typically is Spanish and French. But like I said, schools are now expanding with that. The last school I worked at in Brooklyn, their students took Latin. Some schools have German, some schools have Chinese. So pretty much it was a matter of taking Italian, actually is another one. So pretty much taking advantage of what foreign language your school offers. And then like I said, if they are college bound, making sure that they take 2 years of that language. Sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, one more here already. So electives essentially stands for any type of class that they take that is not any of the classes that I mentioned earlier. So this can be certain courses that they can take more than one time, for instance, PE, or there are certain classes that your school offers that doesn't fall under other requirements, but they will fall under an elective. An example would be creative writing. Creative writing is considered an English elective. It would fall under the elective, but it won't fall under their 4 English classes. Finance, another example for an elective. So essentially, schools, like I said, have different classes that they offer. Any classes that does not fall under any of the categories that we just mentioned would essentially fall under the electives category. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back and forth with different things, but I wanted to take a moment now just to list all the different high schools our students are going to. And the reason why I wanted to just kind of have it visually seen is because, like I said, and I didn't list all the high schools. This is just some of the high schools. I think I'm still missing about 3 or 4. And the reason why I'm showing this is because I want y'all to see that our kids, we have approximately 52 students in the 8th grade. They're going out all over Fulton County, and some are leaving the state, and some are going to private schools. So that's why I want to emphasize the fact that it has not been a one-size-fits-all. In a traditional school, typically all the students are going to one high school. When they're going to one high school, when I'm doing this presentation, I'm able to say, well, this is what Roger High School is doing because the majority of the kids are going here. But like I said, since our kids are going to different schools, it varies from school to school what they're going to. All right. I wanted to take a moment first to talk about a sample schedule. This is a sample 9th grade schedule. This is just a sample schedule because I just kind of want to give everybody an idea of how their schedule would look and how that applies to them meeting their graduation requirements. So, based on this school has 8 periods a day. Most high schools have 8 periods a day. However, some schools may have 7 periods a day. Either way, it's okay because it's still enough credits for your child to graduate. Just one from a standpoint, for instance, with this sample schedule, if the student has 8 periods a day, that's 8 credits that you get per year. So at the end of 4 years, that would be if they pass every class, that would be a total of how many credits? Any math people? 32, thank you, there you go. So, once again, I told y'all that you need 23 credits in order to graduate high school. But even if the school has 8 credits a year, the student would have a potential to have 9 additional credits that they need before they even get there. So this simple schedule, they have 9th grade lit, they have algebra 1, they have biology. I put 8 in geography in there as a social studies. That does not have to be the social studies. Like I said, some schools do world history, some schools do world geography. Some schools don't even have their 9th graders take a social studies class because they only need 3 credits. I listed the health here, I listed PE. Notice that I put Spanish 2 there. I'm going to go more in depth about that because all our students here take Spanish 1. They will be graduating with a Spanish 1 credit. So I put Spanish 2 here just to emphasize the fact that they already have one of their Spanishes. I have a CTAE class there as well as PE. And one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of show this sample schedule is based on them taking one CTAE class, already being in Spanish 2, and they're going with their Spanish 1 credit. They're already going to meet that 3 credit requirement that I was talking about. So just for example, like I said, they have 2 foreign languages, a CTAE, and our kids already are getting a coding class as well. So that means that after 9th grade, they've already met their health requirement, their PE requirement, and that CTAE foreign language fine arts requirement. And that means now any other class that they take in high school after 9th grade would fall under their electives. So that just kind of gives a sample of that. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I kind of want to make sure I take a moment to say it. All of our students here currently earn 2 credits when they graduate from high school, when they graduate from middle school. So every student that's here in 8th grade is currently taking Spanish 1 for a credit, and then at a STEM school, they're also taking coding. So they're actually graduating with 2 classes that's already counting towards their 23 credits. Now, some tag students are actually taking physical science, which is their 9th grade science class. So tag students would get an opportunity to get an additional credit towards their science classes. And then as well, we also offer continuous achievement here. So we have had some accelerated students. Some students are in Algebra 1. Some students are taking 9th grade lit. I actually have an 8th grader that's currently taking geometry. So depending on where your continuous education, continuous achievement is, we also offer those as well. But at a bare minimum, every student who graduates from FAST will start high school with 2 of their 23 credits. Alright, I'm going back and forth. I want to make sure I'm getting all the information that I have. I'm sorry, yo. Okay, so the question is, do those 2 credits automatically transfer to the high school, or is there something that as a parent you have to do? Those credits are automatically going to transfer to the high school. Once they graduate in May, our attendance clerk, Ms. Hernandez, was excellent. Once she graduates the students out of FAST, then those credits will already be reflected on the transfer, and when they get to high school, it will show those 2 credits already. Ms. Walker, you tell me what any questions, any of them come up? Thank you. Any other questions in regards to that? Please go for it. When you say request for a transfer, you mean request to transfer schools? Oh, so that is something separate. So that is something separate. So parents and students have an option to accept their high school credit if they want it while the student is in 8th grade. So I'll just give a random example. Your child took Algebra 1 and they got a 70 in the class. If they got a 70 in the class, they passed the class and they got that credit. But now that 70 is going towards their high school grade point average. And some people may not want them to start school with their first class grade being a 70. So as a parent, you do have the option to say, I decline this credit. It'll still show up on the transcript, but it will be audited, meaning that they don't get credit for it, and then they would have to take that class over again. But that's something that as a parent, you have to request before they graduate in May, because otherwise, the credits automatically go over there once you graduate from our system. But yeah, as far as it's automatically, once we graduate them, all high school credits are automatically sent to whatever high school, not just IA. Once they leave here, they're going to another Fulton County school. Actually, the system already shows what schools they're zoned to or what schools they're planning on going to. For instance, if you were zoned to Roswell, you got accepted into IA. IA already accepted those students, so they already have access. So once we graduate them all, the file automatically goes there. But if you decline the credit, that would be something we have to notify Ms. Walker about in May in regards to that.
So only if you decline.
Only if it's
You don't have to do it.
absolutely. It's only if you're declining the credit because you don't want that credit on the transfer. Excuse me, you don't want that credit to be incorporated into your GPA.
Then there is a deadline.
That is correct.
That window's not, I don't know the deadline, but if you're not feeling and you want your child to have that credit in high school, you must let them know, whatever the deadline is. We'll get that information out. But if you reach out to me and say, hey, I don't want my child's credit, it has to be after final.
Yeah, it's normal choice at the end of the day.
I don't want to give, but if when you get the final score for your child, and you say, hey, I don't want that, you should reach out to me, then I'll take it from there. But you have to communicate that, because we didn't have that when I had lunch. Okay, I think you had your hand.
I think the biggest thing,
Oh, I think he was if your child is at 90, if you don't, you want that, so it just goes, the child gets some credit for that. If you don't, you're not gonna get it.
It's the 8th grade final grade that counts towards.
Okay, so it's the last grade that is in Spanish in May, that's the one.
That goes on the transcript. But they are required to take it in 7th and 8th grade in order to meet the high school requirement, with a certain amount of seat time they have to have in order to get that credit. So they take it in 7th and 8th grade, but it's the class, the grade that they get at the end of 8th grade, that will be the grade that's on their Spanish one transcript.
So this semester is
Well, we're in quarter 3, if I'm correct right now. Yes, sorry, what for you? So, it would be 3 and 4. But then, yeah, it would be 3 and 4. But we're in quarter 3 right now. We still have 4th quarter. That's a great question.
Right.
All right. So, next thing I wanted to talk about was advanced placement. So, what is advanced placement? Advanced placement is college level classes that your child can take while they're in high school. Essentially, they would take the class for the entire year, and the class is ended with an AP exam. I was the AP coordinator when I was in New York as well. The AP exams are normally in May. There is a fee for the exam. It could range depending on the subject from $100 to, if you have free and reduced lunch, I think it's $50, but you do pay for the exam. Now, what is the benefit of your child taking an advanced placement class? If they take that, when they take that exam in May, if the scoring record goes from 1 to 5, most schools, if you get a 5 on that AP exam, you get college credit for that course. Some schools, if you get a 4 in the exam, you get that college course. If you get a 3, then it's more than likely a thing that the college is going to acknowledge you took the class, and then they'll probably elevate you to the next class. So, for example, if you took AP calculus, and you get a 3 on the AP calculus exam, your college may not give you college credit for it, but then if you decide to go and take another calculus class, you can go straight to calculus 2. I know when I was in school, I actually took the AP calculus class, and I actually got a 5, and I was able to get college credit on it, so that was pretty cool that I started college with 3 credits. I want to take a moment to list all the different AP, well not all, excuse me, there's about 20 to 25 different AP classes, but essentially there are AP classes in every subject that high school offers. So there's AP English, English literature, English language, there's multiple social studies AP classes. Just about every science class that I mentioned, there's an AP version, AP physics, AP bio, AP chem, AP environmental, social studies, AP economics, AP human geography. Yeah. Even the CTAEs have AP classes. So there's an AP computer science, there's an AP sculpture. So there are literally, like I said, 20 to 25 different AP courses. Now, once again, it's not like a broken record, your high school will determine which AP courses are available. But I will say now, because we're in the day of technology, now sometimes students are taking AP classes online while they're in school. So for instance, a school may not offer AP computer science, but a student wants to take it. If they have room on their schedule, they can take it virtually, and then they're just assigned to a computer lab, or depending on if they're a senior, then they can go home and they work on it. But most schools typically offer a lot of the classes that I just mentioned, but I yet to hear of a school that offers all 22. On a low end, most schools offer at least 3 to 5. On the high end, I've seen up to 10 AP courses. Like I said, it varies from school to school and the number of students there. The next thing I wanted to talk to y'all about as far as continuous achievement is dual enrollment. What is dual enrollment? Dual enrollment is when your student actually takes college classes at the college. So when I was giving the example earlier, I was talking about the fact that you only need 23 credits to graduate. So if your child is a star and our students are star students, by the time they get to their junior year, they're almost ready to graduate. Some of them can graduate. So when they have that space in their schedule, typically what they'll do is they'll come to the high school in the morning, take 1 or 2 classes, maybe 3, come in at 8, leave at 11, and then they leave and go to a college. And then they actually take college classes. The cool thing about this is when your child is in dual enrollment, Fulton County, or the county that you're in, if you get Fulton County, the school district pays for those classes. So you don't pay for none of those college classes. However, AP exams, you are responsible for paying for those. But dual enrollment, the school pays for that. This actually is, I think, a really cool example. When I was working in Clayton County, I had a student, really star student. By the time he got to his junior year, he was ready to graduate. He instead decided to go to Clayton State University and do dual enrollment. So he came to class in the morning, he came to high school in the morning, and then he did his classes in the afternoon. When he graduated at 18, he graduated with his high school diploma and his associate's degree, which is the first 2 degrees in college. He decided to continue on at Clayton State, and he graduated with his bachelor's at 20, which is actually 2 years earlier than most of his peers did. Not to mention, because the high school paid for the first 2 years of college, that saves some money for you. Keep some money in your pocket. So it's something to consider. Like I said, it's a great opportunity. Like I said, these opportunities, I don't want to say they weren't available when I was in school, but I don't think we had the resources or people that are still out there. So I want to let you know about it now. Like I said, your child's only going to 9th grade, but just thinking ahead, a lot of our kids are already advanced and taking extra classes and going to start high school almost as a sophomore. So this might be something to want to consider when your child gets there. Any questions about AP or dual enrollment? So, the next thing, I think I skipped over ROTC, but I want to take a minute to talk about ROTC. What is ROTC, by the way? ROTC is a program, the actual full name, Junior Reserves. It is a program that some high schools offer for students who may be interested in the military. You know, some of our kids may be interested in the military. The cool thing about this is they're normally the ones that have on the outfits, they do the drills, they're the ones that present arms at any assembly, they do competitions. But the other good thing about this is in many high schools, if you take it for 3 or 4 years, by the time they graduate, if they decide to go to the military, they automatically get promoted 1 rank. So like I said, for people who know, like I had a handful of students I spoke to that said they're definitely interested in their child going to the military. And I said you might want to consider ROTC when you get to school because that could automatically get them promoted a rank when they start ROTC. Alright, where are we at now? Summer school, okay. Some students, many students I'm hearing are interested in taking summer school. So, as a rising 9th grader, children are eligible to take summer school. There are 2 programs at Fulton County that we offer. One would be the Fulton Virtual School, and the other one would be the Georgia Virtual School. Fulton Virtual School is $250 a class. You are responsible for paying for that class if that's something you're interested in. I will say right now, there are some people that have reached out to me and let me know that they were interested in enrolling their child in summer school. Due to the fact that we are a charter school, we do not have the same technology access that the traditional schools have. Last year, when we were doing summer school, we had something in Infinite Campus called Vector. And I was able to go into Vector, click on your child's name, add Algebra 1, approve, and it was done. Unfortunately, this year they decided to go to Genius, which is through ClassLink, and these are 2 programs that at a charter school we do not have access to. I have been in communication with the IT specialist for virtual school, as well as the IT department at Fulton County. So I want to let you know that we have been aware of it. The last email I got was from them yesterday, letting me know that they're still working on trying to figure out a way for charter schools to have access to Genius and ClassLink. So the issue that I'm going through right now as far as being able to enroll your child, it is not a factor. This is any charter school in Fulton County because we're not all connected on the same database. Granted, we all use Infinite Campus, but there are certain things that the public schools use that we do not have access to. So I wanted to make sure I took a moment to address that because I know some of y'all may be interested in enrolling your child in summer school. And as soon as that access comes, hopefully, the lady did say hopefully by the end of this week. That's what she told me last Thursday. And then when she emailed me yesterday, she let me know they're still working on it. So I still just wanted to make sure I took an opportunity to let y'all know that that's what's going on and that's how we're trying to address it. As soon as I find out something, I can have Ms. Emerson send out a blast or an email just to let everybody know, hey, if you are interested in summer school, please let me know and I'll be able to enroll you in that class. Please. Essentially, the question is, just in case everybody heard, what is the courses that they can take in summer school? Essentially, they can take any course that Fulton Virtual School offers. What is the most popular class that I've seen rising ninth graders take? A lot of them will take personal fitness. A lot of them will take health. Some students who want to become advanced in math, a lot of students take Algebra 1, AB. I always like to warn parents, or warn kids, I should say, when they do that. It's essentially the 1 year of content condensed into 5 weeks. Fulton Virtual Schools typically starts the first week of June. It goes on till the second week of July. So essentially, and then of course the students are required to submit certain works throughout the time. I'm sorry, another thing I wanted to mention in regards to Fulton Virtual School. If you decide to enroll your child in Fulton Virtual School, you have to log on to it on US Main. Sometimes some families like to travel, they like to do family trips or international. Unfortunately, Fulton Virtual School will not work overseas. So you have to be logging into the class while you're here in the United States. Anywhere in the country, but once you leave the country, you will not be able to access it. So that's also something I want you to keep in mind if you are considering enrolling your child in some school. So that way you can plan accordingly, maybe from, like I said, that first week of June until the second week of July, possibly July 10th. They didn't confirm the date to me yet, but somewhere in that ballpark, I would say the planning vacations after that. All right, and that was my last slide. Please, more questions. I would say we're at the question stage now, so.
Are they allowed to do a PE waiver over the summer?
You said a PE waiver?
Yes.
Typically, if they're doing the PE waiver, that would be done once they start the school year. So that would be something you would talk to your high school counselor about and provide that documentation.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
I noticed it says graduation is on Tuesday, May 20th. It was Wednesday, May 21st. When I looked at the calendar in January, my parents already booked their flights, so you're telling me they changed their flights.
Yeah, I was going to address some of the, any other questions for Dr.
We'll get 1 second on that. I guess
I'm
I
asking. I think we have another question.
okay. Please go for it.
On the kid that request for recommendation, if we have any changes to those requests for the process.
Okay, so just in case anybody heard the question, if you wanted to make a change to the requested courses, what would be? So it depends on the school. And the reason why I say that is some schools, Ms. Hernandez is still able to access the request that we put in. And then if we need to make a change, let's say for instance, we have the child enrolled in 9th grade lit, and you want them in 9th grade literature honors. Some schools we still are able to change it on our end. Some schools, once they've already taken those schedules, we're no longer able to access it. So it will be based on what school your child is going to. I would say you can speak to me or speak to Ms. Hernandez after this, and then we'll be able to make that change. Before we get to another question, there was another thing in the slide that I did not mention that I kind of wanted to talk about, was just in terms of giving everybody a general idea of what has been done up until this point. So in January, by January 24th of this year, all of our teachers entered in course requests for next year for all 8th grade students. So all students were enrolled in 9th grade lit, they were enrolled in algebra, they were enrolled in biology, they were enrolled in, like I said, either world history, and they were enrolled in Spanish too. Based on teacher recommendation and how those children perform, some of those students may have been enrolled in that honors versions of the courses I just mentioned. That was done back in January. So when schools were able to access it, they were able to access that immediately. Now, the electives, on the other hand, is a different process. As I mentioned, we have a lot of students going to different schools, and each high school has their own electives process. Some schools do it on their own. Some schools have collaborated with me and Ms. Walker. And like I said, every school has a different recipe. Prime example, Roswell High School, the assistant principal came here and sat with our students and physically enrolled each student in their electives. Milton High School sent me a sheet for every student, and I gave the sheet to the student, they filled it out and gave it back to me. Cambridge did the same thing. So as far as the electives, it's not a one-size-fits-all for all students, because like I said, the electives vary from high school to high school depending on what they offer. So if there have been any concerns or questions in regards to electives, please let me know. I have been reaching out to some of the other high schools. They have not been as forthcoming with responding back to me, but in some cases we have one student going to their high school. So I don't like to make excuses for other adults, but I know when they have to deal with 200, 300, 400 other students, sometimes they don't get back to my email as quickly as I would like. But please let me know if that is something that is of concern to you. I will continue to reach out to these schools. The good thing I will say is we still have time. I know we're in March now, but ninth graders are typically the last to be able to choose their levels. The reason why is because priority automatically always goes to seniors. No matter what high school you're in, seniors are the #1 priority. One, to get seniors that are there graduated. Two, to make sure the current 11th graders have all the classes they need for their senior year to graduate, and then it goes down. So that means, unfortunately, your kids are at the bottom of the barrel. Not because they're not fabulous, they're great kids, it's just if your child wants to intro to engineering, and there's a senior who needs that engineering class to make his pathway, the senior gets it before your ninth grade does. So I want to let you know, in case there's some anxiety, some nervousness around it, is you still have time. It's not too late. Most high schools are just starting looking at electives, and like I said earlier, they're starting with 12th grade. They start with 12th grade and work their way down. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I know I had a slide on it, but I might skip over while we're talking. Any other questions? I know Ms. Walker, I have a question for the young lady over here, but any other questions in regards to what I'm talking about in regards to transition? Please.
So, I was, weeks ago, when I wanted to take them, to the course class, and now I'm a lot on here. And I know that Little Springs is currently doing specials for the kids that are in their,
The manual program or?
And so we sent in requests for elective courses and stuff like that, so they're now holding it, or?
That could be the case, yes. That's why I said that every high school does it differently, so when some high schools pull it, then we, you may not have access to it as a parent, or we may not have access to it no longer. We can still see, probably I think Ms. Hernandez is able to see what was entered, but we may not be able to make edits. But that very well may be what happened, is that the school pulled it, and they're working on a schedule now to get things situated for next year. Congratulations on getting into that report, Marvin. Excellent.
Another question.
Please, go for it. Well, I would say they have to have 4 different science classes in order to graduate. So if they're taking biology for 1 credit, they're still going to be required to take 3 other credits. So yeah, so if they're taking biology, that's 1 of the 4, but they still have to have it. The only way they're able to take the same class twice is if they were to do, for instance, biology in 9th grade and then take AP biology as a senior. But otherwise, it's 4 different sciences. Normally biology, like I said, earth science, chemistry, earth science, environmental science, physics, those are the most popular ones. No problem, good question.
Any other questions for Dr. Mason? All right, Dr. Mason, thank you so much.
Thank y'all, by the way, I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all working with me and working with your kids. Like I said, I know it's been a fun time, helping them grow into the great young adults they're gonna be. I know they're gonna be awesome no matter what high school they go to. So we wanna make sure we continue to push them to the finish line and support them moving forward. I'll pass it over to Ms. Walker now.
Thank you so much. What I want to do is go through our upcoming events. We step over a little bit, Dr. Mason. Because we do have, and normally I meet with the 8th graders with a copy of a calendar so that they can sort of map out their plans for April and May, because a lot of these events are right behind each other. And sometimes I do hear conversations of them feeling overwhelmed. And we want to make sure they understand how to manage their time well. And many of them have done a phenomenal job. We just want to make sure that they finish strong. So public speaking session actually started on the 18th, that was this week. So you're familiar with that. The consultant came in, I actually sat in on the very first session. It was really good. I've seen the work that he's done. And then of course, when the children have their capstones, we see the impact of that. So make sure you have that on your calendar. MAP testing is next week.
Now that's the test that we do in-house. The standardized testing is what we call GMAT. That's in April. So we have a test next week, which is important. They need to do well on the MAP because we've been tracking them since August, and we're tracking growth and student goals. And then April, the week of the 21st, we have the standardized test, that's Georgia. Okay, and we also have EOC. Those are the children that are taking Algebra 1. I didn't write it on here, but that window opens on the 21st. So keep that in mind. Your children will be dealing with a testing situation for about 2 weeks, GMAS. Meanwhile, 8th grade will have other things going on. The 8th grade graduation, to answer your question, that Wednesday has always been by default the end of the closing for 8th grade. As long as I've been here, I haven't been here that long, 3 years, that has been the date. But the church no longer had that date available for us this year. So that's why I had to change it.
What time will it be?
Huh?
What time will it be?
I think it's 5:30.
5 and 4, so.
I understand. Yeah, the church did not have this, the venue wasn't available.
What was that?
Okay, we can talk after the meeting maybe?
I-
Yeah, let's talk after the,
Timing and communication.
yeah, let's talk after the meeting. But that venue was unavailable for the 21st. And so Ms. Miller and I'm not familiar with a lot of venues here. We did think about the church. I think there's a Northbrook church. And she did say that that church, the setting isn't as large and isn't as cozy, I guess. Plus, we have a relationship with Lebanon across the highway. So the only other date was the 20th. That's a Tuesday, May 20th. And we'll, as we get closer, I'm thinking it's about 5:30, we'll have the children to arrive. The other thing is the capstones. This is huge, and I know you've been hearing a lot about it. I did speak to Ms. Shazia. She said that the students will start presenting the week of May 5th. The 8th grade team will send out a schedule for you guys to sign up so that you can be a participant and observe your student, your child presenting. So it's May 5th through May 9th, capstones. And I think she said she's going to give everything out to you guys to sign up for the presentations. 7th and 8th grade dance is April 18th. And then the end of the year field trip for 8th grade, and Ms. Lloyd help me on this, I'm thinking it's the May 15th. Those should be those last 3 days. Yeah, I know, I was looking, I didn't want to get up for the meeting. Okay, the end of the year, that's the one you guys should be paying on, that's the overnight. Yeah, I call it the end of the year, it's Georgia Studies Field Trip. That's the one to Savannah. May 14th through the 16th. But Marie does a great job communicating those dates, so we'll get that to you. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to give you guys sort of an overview. And don't forget, we do have spring break, so we have MAP testing next week. We finish MAP testing next week. The following week, we have regular school. And then the week after that is spring break. Y'all with me? The week after that is a regular week of school. And then the week after that is standardized testing. So a lot of times especially our 8th graders, in their mind, school is over. But it isn't. They still have a lot of work to do, and I talk to them about finishing strong. So make sure I'm giving you that. You'll see a lot of you write it down and put it in your phones. it looks different when it's in front of you on a larger calendar. You don't have a whole lot of days in there. And then I know a lot of the children are active outside of school, whether with church, sports. So just keep all of that in mind as you're planning things, okay? Because it is a lot towards the end. And then after graduation, now I have to talk to Ms. Miller because the graduation is on the 20th and we still have 2 more days of school. Because normally it's the day before the last day of school. So I have to talk to her about that because now that leaves us with 2 days. But we'll let you know on that. You have one more question over there?
Yes, one more, since we're sharing dates, I wanted to let y'all know tomorrow, thanks to Ms. Hernandez came up with an awesome idea. Tomorrow we will be having an assembly with the 8th grade students. It's going to be a panel style discussion. We have 7 confirmed former FAST students who are currently in the 11th and 12th grade at their respective high schools. They're gonna be here to talk to your children about their experience going to high school. What brought this about was that we do have some students who are going to high school and they're the only person going to that high school. They don't know anybody. Or they just are ready to start fresh, or they're anxious, or they're nervous about what to expect. And Ms. Hernandez thought it would be a great idea to have former students from here who came through these schools that are now about to graduate or an upperclassmen share their experience to kind of give our students some encouragement. So yesterday, me and Ms. Hernandez went to one of the 2 classes, and the other class is having their public speaking lesson, so we'll talk to them today. But we wanted to let you know so you can tell them if there's questions, have them have questions ready to ask these young people. We are encouraging them to let them know there's no such thing as a stupid question. It's not that the guys can only ask guys questions. We'll have both males and female students here, and they're all here for the purpose of answering those questions. That will be tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So once again, like I said, you can talk to your children about it, see if there's any questions they have, that they can come ready, because we want to make sure that we have it be a valuable experience, because I think this is an awesome opportunity for them to hear from their peers. We can talk until the cows come home, but sometimes when they hear it from other young people, it kind of sinks in more. So we're really excited about that tomorrow morning.
And the last thing, I do have youth science scores. I remember we had a meeting, I don't know if it was in January or December. I did send you the link to get on to the site electronically. I did hear back from some parents that said they could not get on. I do have hard copies here. I'll sit here, you can stop and give me your child's name, and I'll give you the document. Remember, this is not etched in stone. We talked about that. It's just good to look at to see if some of those, we did have a situation where a parent sort of aligned the electives that her child chose sort of matched the youth science, which she found it to be interesting because of I guess his interest. So I do have that here. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We appreciate the sacrifices you're making, of course, and we'll be in touch. Have a great day.